Welcome to the Level 20 Lounge for a special edition of Level 20 Sports Line. It's Martin Luther King Day, a day we celebrate the life of a great leader, a great man, great Republican at a time when Republicans had the guts to go ahead and take care of the people. This guy was, again, a great man. It's too bad we don't have one like him around today. Before we get started, we'd like to send out our condolences to Mike Brown and his family. Mike's been a longtime friend of the show. He's here very often. Lost his brother over the weekend. We send our prayers and our best wishes out to him and his family. Also to Bobby Gold. Bobby's been a guest, a longtime friend also, who lost a cousin over the weekend. Both these guys and their families, again, we send our best wishes out to them. We'll start out, again, as we always do, with our What's on Your Mind segment. Al, what's on your mind?
What's on my mind is we got a Level 20 Thursday night trivia. Starts at 9 p.m. Colin told me to read this, so I got it right. So you can win 4 Penguin hockey tickets. You can win a weekly trivia quiz night 3 times. You win the 4 hockey tickets. He wrote this, folks. Maximum 4 players per team. Register your team to win. Now, they have a special. You know, I talk about the $4.95 pitchers, but they have $2.95 domestic draft and bottled beer every Penguins game. So make sure you're there. Chris, I don't know if you can get a little copy of this. Maybe I misspoke a little bit, but that's one of my infomercials for Colin and Tracy. Thank you. Now, the next one is Friday, January 25th, 9 to 1, 6-piece classic rock and soul band playing hits of the 70s and 80s. Well, Smokin' Jim, that's before your time, but $5 cover charge. And they say wear your dancing shoes because you're going to hear the fabulous Biseglia Brothers. Now, I need a close-up here because I don't know if I pronounced any of that right.
I know you had brothers right.
Well, my man right here. Now, what's on my mind is we hear so much negativity about sports heroes. And on the show, we've talked about a lot of people in sports really aren't our heroes. Well, a gentleman died by the name of Stan the Man Musial, a local Denora product, a great player. Listen to some of these stats. He was one of my heroes. I even saw him at the Meadows back in 1984 with Joe DiMaggio, Del Miller. They were eating, and they had stacks of tickets that were uncashed because they were losing tickets on the horses. So they were right there, but I didn't go up and hound him for an autograph. I didn't get a picture of him, but I saw him. And his statistics, 24 All-Star games, 22 years with the same team, 17 years over 300. That's batting over 300. 16 consecutive 300, years of batting that. It's unreal. He had 475 home runs, 3,630 base hits. That was a National League record when he retired. He was an MVP 3 times. He had the most triples 5 times, doubles I forget now, and he was batting average, I think 7 batting titles that he won. This guy was prolific, but that's only his baseball career. Off the field, 50 years after he retired, 40-some years, he helped people. He helped different charities, fundraisers. They even have a statue, the man, Stan the Man, right outside St. Louis at their stadium. This guy was a great guy. If you want to look up to him, read his story, find out about him, tell your kids, your grandkids, even yourself. Now you got a hero. Go back to this guy. Thank you. That's it.
Smokin' Jim, what's on your mind?
Hey, thanks, Magic Mike and Al Levine, the talking machine. The one thing that impressed me the most about Stan the Man Musial is up until last year, he married his high school sweetheart, and they stayed married 72 years. I think that's awesome. Again, Magic Mike did a great job. I want to wish everybody a happy Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Birthday. Speaking of a brother, Lewis. In 2 weeks, we got the Harbaugh Bowl. Congratulations to Jim Harbaugh, San Francisco 49er coach, and his older brother, John Harbaugh, the Baltimore Ravens coach. And I tell you what, nobody gave the Baltimore Ravens a chance. Most people thought it was easier to get Lance Armstrong to tell the truth than for the Ravens to go into New England and beat Tom Brady. But one thing everybody forgets is the greatest player of all time is back, Ray Lewis. Ray Lewis and the Ravens are 8-1 when Ray Lewis is in that lineup. And I tell you what, brother, he got 44 tackles. He's averaging 15 tackles a game. That's 300 if you take it out for a whole season. He must be the greatest. I tell you what, I am undefeated. Everybody knows I'm a professional gambler. I'm undefeated against the spread on all my playoff picks. Next week, I'll have the Super Bowl winner for you. I tell you right now, Jim Harbaugh is the best coach in the National Football League. But how can you bet against Ray Lewis, the greatest player of all time? I'll have that pick next week for you. Sad news for your Pittsburgh Steelers. Pittsburgh Steelers recently kicked off the team running back Chris Rainey for hitting his girlfriend. And I tell you what, in the April draft, the Pittsburgh Steelers needs another Jack Lambert. They need a Ray Lewis. They need a Junior Seau. They should go to Notre Dame and get Monte Te'o, because you can't get arrested for slapping an imaginary girlfriend.
Thanks, Jim. Well, as you see, Chip Hayner's not with us tonight, so we brought in a ringer. We've got the producer of Waynesburg University's Sports Talk TV show. We've got with us Megan Bale. Megan, what's on your mind?
I'm just really thinking about the Super Bowl, and I just find it really interesting to think that this is the first time in 9 years that the Steelers, the Patriots, or the Colts haven't been in it.
Great point.
Wow.
And it's also really interesting to think the Ravens are in the Super Bowl, but the Steelers beat them with their third-string quarterback.
Great point again.
So I don't really know who I'm rooting for, and I don't really know where I stand on who's going to win and who's not. But I just find those points really interesting, and I'm just excited to see how it all plays out.
And that's what's on your mind, Megan.
It was good.
Well, yeah, the Super Bowl's coming up. Jim's going to give you his pick next week. Let me tell you something about Smoking Jim Frazier. This man knows everything there is to know about football, whether it's high school, college, or the pros. He can tell you stats. He can tell you people's numbers. He can tell you who was the third-string running back for Denora High School 20 years ago. But let me tell you something else. When you get this pick next week, if Jim predicts that sun's coming up tomorrow, you better go buy some flashlights. Because he ain't got one right yet. Now, what's on my mind is, in addition to Stan Musial dying, we also lost Earl Weaver, great manager for the Baltimore Orioles for a long, long time. Managed a couple of World Series with the Orioles against the Pittsburgh Pirates. Pirates won both of those. And that was, again, a long, long time ago, and the Pirates were one of the better teams in the league. It's going to be a long time before we see that. But if you look at Major League Baseball 2013, we've got Andrew McCutchen on the cover. Now I'm wondering if, because there's a Pirate on the cover, that means when you get into this game, you can only play half a season. And that's what's on my mind. Well, you know, Jim, you started out with the Super Bowl. Let's go back to that. Baltimore Ravens, San Francisco 49ers. And to me, one of the things that stands out, because I don't think Ray Lewis is the greatest football player ever, so it doesn't really matter that much to me, but we got two very distinct but very good quarterbacks. Joe Flacco, who has been badmouthed and badmouthed and badmouthed for a long, long time. Turns out that maybe he is one of the elite quarterbacks. He just beat the number 1 and number 2 rated quarterbacks, at least, that are currently around. I think that Joe Flacco, you talk a lot about Roethlisberger being a future Hall of Famer. I think you might need to consider Joe Flacco possibly be a future Hall of Famer also. But I'm more impressed on the other side with Kaepernick from the San Francisco 49ers. Second year in the league, down 17-0, and did not lose his poise at all. Turned around, took that team back to win the game, 28-24. This guy just stayed with what he was doing, didn't get shaken by the 17-point deficit, and brought his team back to win. I think we're looking at a pretty exciting Super Bowl coming up.
I'm just excited because we could have the first black quarterback to win the Super Bowl since Doug Williams. But I tell you what, in my draft report 2 years ago, I had Kaepernick as my second quarterback right behind Cam Newton. I was shocked he went in the second round. This is why Jim Harbaugh's the best coach in the National Football League, because you can make tough decisions. Alex Smith was good. Everybody got on him for sitting down Alex Smith, but you get paid in this league for winning championships. He knew he couldn't win a championship with Alex Smith. He went back to Cap, and I tell you what, it may pay off for him. I'll let you know next week.
Those are all good points, but I think Kaepernick had a little break with a running back was able to run through a line that couldn't stop anybody.
Old black magic.
Right, and he did work that out rather well. And when you have, about 2,000 pounds of beef and 5 guys or so, I think you're going to move a few people out, and Atlanta couldn't stop anybody. That's what helped. And of course, he did make some nice throws. I didn't realize he has a 90+ mile/per-hour fastball, so he can play baseball. He was a basketball star, and he can run. He's fast. They can't even get the angle on him, and he didn't have to run that game. So now he saved that dimension for the Super Bowl. And then Ray Lewis, since he lost 2 steps now, but the bionic arm helps him out, he may be able to get him. So I'm going to be excited about your Baltimore pick, because being a Pittsburgh guy, I don't want San Francisco to get that 6th Super Bowl trophy. So I'm hoping the bionic arm, not to give any hint. And since I disagreed with you totally on this weekend, I got to eat some humble pie. And I picked completely the opposite of Smoking Jim. And I hate to lose 2 games, because during the season I lost a half a dozen houses because he said bet the house. He didn't tell me to bet the house this weekend because he is a professional gambler. He kept the odds up where he wanted, and he cleaned house. So I'm going to have to bet with him for the Super Bowl.
Well, I'll tell you what, you got to kind of lean towards San Francisco a little bit, because the wide receiver, Crabtree, got the same agent as Ben Roethlisberger.
Well, I don't know if that has anything to do with anything, but I'll tell you one reason you might want to lean towards San Francisco, because while the Baltimore Ravens have Ray Lewis and Ed Reed, who are very accomplished veterans, San Francisco 49ers have a very accomplished veteran of their own with Randy Moss, and I don't see anybody in purple, no offense, Megan, that's going to be able to stop Randy Moss when he wants another championship ring.
Good point.
Now, you were saying about Ray Lewis's bionic arm. I've heard a lot of talk that it's almost like a club. Do you think that he should? Do you think that the refs should allow him to wear such a distracting brace?
No. They should just do, what's all that technology with those strips that they put on you? Why don't they do that and then cover it up, with the shirt, a couple shirts, instead of having the bionic arm, because he did lose a couple steps, and he does like the club guys. So, and they get a little dizzier, and he's done great. Matter of fact, I heard it was 45 tackles that he did have, so that is just great over 3 games. Yes. And he tore all his triceps. They said there's 3 that you tear, not just the 1.
Wow.
So that's what's impressive, and that's why they keep the bionic sleeve, arm, and whatever it's called.
Well, one good thing for Pittsburgh Steelers fans, even if San Francisco wins the Super Bowl and get number 6, I will guarantee you they will never get number 7, because the genius just got hired in Arizona, Bruce Arians. He will dominate the National Football League for the next 5 years. Mike Wallace on one side, Larry Fitzgerald on the other side, Bruce Arians calling the plays. That's an unstoppable offense.
Who's the quarterback?
Exactly. Who's going to throw
Who's
the ball
going to
to
throw
those
the
guys?
ball to those animals there? Those horses need somebody to feed them. Come on now.
Always remember this.
Who's going there?
The only Cleveland Browns, since they came back into the National Football League, made the playoffs one time with the bum, Tim Couch, who was offensive coordinator, Bruce Arians. It don't matter when you got a mad scientist
Will Trent
as your coordinator.
Dilfer come back or whatever?
Who?
Who's that Baltimore quarterback that's on ESPN?
Oh, Trent Dilfer.
Trent Dilfer. Whatever he is, I never thought he was a good quarterback, and he got a Super Bowl ring.
Thanks
He
to Ray.
made that in a career.
Thanks to Ray Lewis.
Now, where's your career on ESPN? You're promoting Ray, and I heard rumors that he's going to be on ESPN as a host next year somewhere.
Well, all I know is this.
I think you're wrong with
I want to
that.
send out a shout out because we were off last week, but I was on Channel 11 on a TV program called Championship Chase, and they're going to hire me next year full time. I don't mind picking up another paycheck, but the reason I'm giving them a hometown discount, the reason is the guy that did the promo for the show, Sugar Ray Lewis.
Hold it. It was the worst promo that I've ever seen. Now, I had my DVR set to see my man here for a half an hour on the show. He had less than 3 minutes between 4 guys. D. Thompson was one of the guys. His man Ty was taking up most of the time, and he kept saying, "You're smoking, Jim. We're going to have to get this room, cooled down. You're smoking too much." And he goes, "We're going to have to hire him or something." So I think something was negotiated between those commercials there. It was a good show, and this is the first show that I've ever seen broadcast, and Mike can co-sign this, that was called Champions. This is the first time I ever saw, and I was on a champion show, I want you to know, and these producers and everybody, I'm not going to mention all their names, like Ken Ogilvy, Bill Neal, but I was the token white guy on the show, and they told me it'd be broadcast everywhere. This show was broadcast, and it's called Champion Chase. So watch for it next Steelers season. You actually
right.
see him,
You ain't right, man.
but I'm not wrong. Gotcha.
I believe that
That was good.
Ray Lewis will fit right in there with, Jerome Bettis and Hines Ward, just to prove that even though you can play the game, you probably shouldn't be on TV talking about the game, because I don't think he's going to be able to do it. I know that Bettis and Ward can't do it, and a few other guys here and there, but Ray's had a great football career. He should probably disappear politely. We'll hear back from him, 3 or 4 years when they induct him into the Hall of Fame, because even though steroids can keep you out of the Baseball Hall of Fame, murder can't keep you out of the NFL Hall of Fame. They got plenty of murderers in there already. They will fit right in there with them too.
Never convicted. Never convicted, right?
You guys are on the
Well,
roll.
neither was OJ. He's in there.
He made it.
That's right.
Megan, what do you think about some of these conversations here? You never thought you'd run into this. This isn't the same as the Waynesburg show. Your associate producer over there is nodding her head. There's no way.
No.
Rose, shout out to Rose there.
No, everything in Waynesburg's really, it's a Christian university, so everything's very mission
understand.
compliant.
Yes, it is.
So I'm not really used to this, but I'm definitely really enjoying it. It's a lot of fun.
Well, then, all I recommend is you read the Bible. Okay?
Okay.
There's a lot of violence and wars in there.
Okay.
And that's sort of what this show's about. And that's what sports is about. Think about the Romans in the Colosseum,
Here we go.
right?
Definitely.
So you got to be flexible out there. I know you're rookies here.
Well, I guess since Al kind of referred to already, why don't you introduce your co-producer, let her come up and talk to us for a little bit.
This is my co-producer, Rose Huey. She's also a freshman at Waynesburg University.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, Rose. What's the name of your show?
It's called Jacket Sports Weekly. We usually call it JSW just because Jacket Sports Weekly can get a little bit of a mouthful, but
Can you say that slower?
Jacket Sports Weekly.
Thank you.
Well, Level 20 Sportsline's a better name, but go ahead.
But this semester, Megan and I just came on last semester as freshman producers, and we're really excited because this semester we're going to be making it the transition from a 30-minute show to an hour-long show, and we're going to add in highlights, and we're going to have anchors do voiceovers and analyze everything, so we're really excited for the changes.
So you use students as anchors?
Yeah, we just held auditions today, and we have 4 anchors. We have an interview section with a player, so we're really excited to get everything started.
We better go down there and enroll, Jim.
He has a chance. He has some years left in his eligibility. He could actually be an athlete there.
So how's Waynesburg doing this year as far as basketball? How they doing football?
Football, they did really, really well. They actually had a 10-1 season, which is the best season since what?
1966 when they had Mo Scary on the team.
What conference are they in?
The PAC.
President's Athletic
Yep,
Conference.
they're in the PAC, but they did really, really well. Their only loss came to Washington and Jefferson, which is Waynesburg's biggest rival. It was a huge game, but we had a lot of injured players, and we're missing one of the big guys on defense, Brian Gary, so it was a really, really tough game for them to lose, but great season.
Is Brian Gary from Fort Cherry?
No, Brian, he went to Shaler.
Shaler, okay.
Yeah, he went to Shaler. And the basketball teams, their records are okay. Women's team in the PAC, they're doing pretty good. I think they're 7-3 in the PAC. Men, I think they're 3-7. But they just came off a huge win against Bethany.
Huge.
On Saturday, it was 67-64. And they came back from the end because they were down a couple points and came back and had a huge
Well, I
win.
guess when you're 2-7, any win's a huge win. So make you 3-7.
Who scored the winning basket?
I don't know.
I think it was. It was EJ.
Give a
EJ
shout out to your
Coleman.
man.
EJ Coolman, yeah. So
There you
go.
good job to him. He did a really good game.
The win was so big, though, because this was the first time since 2003, was it, that Waynesburg has beaten Bethany at home.
Wow.
So this was, the entire gym was standing. It was just a great experience, and I'm sure all the players are really going to remember it.
What kind of crowd was there?
It was a pretty big crowd. A lot of
Big for
students.
Waynesburg.
Yeah, big for
More
Waynesburg.
than 20 people?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. The gym was full.
Rose, I told you I was sarcastic. Be prepared. You did
Oh, we
well.
know. I pick up. I'm good at sarcasm.
I noticed.
Very sarcastic person.
Like I told our studio audience prior to the show, I went to a lot. I'm an NFL scout. And I went to a lot of Waynesburg University games. Sat many a days in the bleacher section in the football games when the train just runs right behind the bleachers. But I tell you what, great athletic program. Went to several wrestling matches over in Waynesburg, known for their wrestling as well. But great school, small Christian school. I'm a born-again Christian, so I love frequently those type of schools. That in Geneva, my 2 favorite schools, Waynesburg and Geneva College.
Hey, Smoking Jim, I have a connection to Waynesburg. One of my good friends, Chief, will co-sign this one. There's a coach at South Park, coaches football 7th and 8th grade. He also helps with the high school team. He does track and field. He's had a couple javelin guys that have gone to major colleges, Louisiana State,
Really?
places like that. Yeah, his name's Chuck Villa. So I want to give a shout out to Chuck Villa. Here's his claim to Waynesburg fame. He was a standout athlete at Bethel Park High School. He went to Waynesburg, and I had got in at the Pittsburgh Press before him. And he played one semester of football there. And we heard he was one of the greatest linebackers out there. Chief will tell you that. And I don't know about the statistics or if you could check it out, but it's Charles J. Villa. You can go back in 1975, so there's a name for
Oh, I thought he
past.
played on that 66 team.
No, he didn't. I don't even know if Waynesburg won that year, but he did play on that team. And I missed the game, sorry. I had to work night turns. Couldn't come in.
Well, Jim, why don't you tell us about that 66 66 team.
That was before my time, man. I'm gonna do some research on it. I tell you what, I'll do some research on it.
I'm sure you will.
Went to a lot of
Who is-
Waynesburg and Westminster and Grove City College Waynesburg games, and I tell you what, come right down to the wire. Great football.
They do.
The Pack has some good games. They have some nice rivalries and stuff, and you know, it's not Division I, but it's still there's still some pretty good, pretty competitive games. Who's your football coach?
Rick Shepis is the football coach at Waynesburg, and this year I think he just excelled in everything. All the players that we've talked to, we've had on the show, they have nothing but good things to say about him. He's so nice when we interview him at halftime and post game. He comes, finds us, he talks to us. He's very, very nice guy, very professional, and a great coach.
He's very encouraging toward the players too. They have a chapel service before every game usually, and he gets very emotional, like he's very attached to the team, which I think is a really good thing because having just that constant support has to be nice, like on and off the field.
And I tell you what, after going to some Waynesburg football games afterwards, I always go with a group over to the federal prison in Waynesburg and talk to some of the prisoners. So it's always a great
Future
weekend down
NFL
there.
players, possibly.
Former NFL players.
Right by the federal prison, they got a Hardee's. I'm a big Hardee's fan. Charborough burgers, you know, can't beat it.
That is one of the best places to go. There's still one in the Pittsburgh area, right near Shaler there.
You can't be plugging somebody else's burgers. Call them, throw us out.
Okay, $7 burger and fries. Come to level 20 next week. I know it's cold outside. I know the wind chill factor is 20 degrees below zero. Come here for the $7 burger and fries. If you don't want that, come for some wings. And they got $4.95 pitchers of beer. Pick out whatever one you want. Tell them Al sent you and the Pittsburgh Sportsline crew. Maybe you only pay $4.95 for it. Good luck. Who's that?
Sonar.
I think that might be an alarm on my phone going off.
You know what? She has to go back to Waynesburg. They do have a curfew there, and the show ran a little. We're a little over. Sorry, Rose.
Oh, no. I'll go get that.
Well, you can't leave the show.
You know, we talked about, I guess, the Super Bowl, but who cares? You mentioned the Steelers a little bit, but who cares? You know, even, Waynesburg University, but who cares? Because really there's only one thing to talk about. The last 2 days, the Pittsburgh Penguins are now 2-0. They beat Philadelphia.
Yeah.
They really beat the Rangers pretty bad. They look good in just every area. There's not a player on the team that hasn't looked good. If you're a Pittsburgh Penguins fan, in fact, if you're a Pittsburgh fan and you like referring to the city as the city of champions, well, you can't really count on the Pirates. Certainly can't count on the Steelers. But this year, you can count on your Pittsburgh Penguins to be the division champion, the conference champion, and the Stanley Cup champion. I would guarantee that for you this year. Guys, we got probably the best 2 players in the world, probably 5 of the best 10 players in the league. We got not 1 but 2 good goalies now. You got Evgeny Malkin, Sidney Crosby, James Neal, Chris Letang, and just everybody else, the people that they refer to as role players, all carrying the team, carrying their weight. Everybody looks good on this team, but you have to like Tanner Glass. We lost Aaron Asham, who was a pretty tough guy that we had last year, got into some pretty tough fights, took some pretty bad penalties, but yesterday, Tanner Glass hooked up with Aaron Asham, and they fought for a solid minute, and they threw some bombs at each other, and Tanner Glass looked very good, spurred the team on, and the Penguins ended up winning that game 6-3. Al, you watched the Penguins. What'd you think?
Oh, my goodness. I was going to say, I like that new guy, Broken Glass, but he doesn't have a glass jaw. He knocked Aaron Asham right down with the first punch, and I give Asham credit. He did get back up. but Glass gave him a hard punch, and Glass seems to have a lot more talent and speed than Asham has, so it's quite an upgrade there. I saw the Penguins from bottom line to top line. Look, Joe Vitale sat out the first game, come back the second game. They have such a deep squad. I thought it would be one of my favorite players was Stahl. Now I got this guy Suter. I think they're not missing a beat. He is just fantastic on the face-offs. You see how low he gets and how he gets that puck right out of there to our guys. It's just great. They got great movement, and they're even playing a little bit of defense. Vicun looked a little shaky at the beginning. Sorry, Smoking Jim. But he did look a little shaky. I know you like him as our second goaltender, but they say they want to see him play about 20 games. But once he got going there, he was just lights out again, and it was quite the performance. Fleury looks great. You know, the defense is coming around him. The offense is just unreal. Look at Neal. Look at the shots he has. Look at Tyler Kennedy. These guys are something else. It's Dupuy's flying, Dupre's flying. The team looks top to bottom. We all predicted, well, I don't know if Smoking Jim's going to ride this bandwagon. Sometimes he does. But we all predicted Stanley Cup champs this year. But there's no doubt in our mind. We don't care about the Las Vegas odds with 8-1 and 8-1 on the New York Rangers. I think we're 2-1 favorites in Pittsburgh here, just with their performance right now. And I love the 20-second line changes, 30 seconds at most, because they're not in season shape right now. Some of them are in a little better shape than others. All the teams are doing it, but we're a step ahead of some of these guys. It just seems that way. Bausma's orchestrating a great plan. I'm all for it. I could go on and on, Mike. I'm with you on this one. They just look super. It's nice to see a Pittsburgh team competing at the highest level and being consistent.
Well, you know, some of them are not in game shape. Of course, they practice a little bit down at South Point during the off season when they could get together. No training camp, no preseason games. The scrimmage, the preseason scrimmage was nice. It was a nice thing for the Penguins to do for the fans and everything. But if Jenny Malkin was playing in Russia, and he had 47 games there, he had 65 points in those 47 games, and it looks like he's it is his midseason now, and he looks like he's in midseason form. When Malkin's on the ice, he dictates the game, at least for the last 2 games. 4 points already. Predicted he will be again the MVP and the points leader. James Neal, a bunch of points, 3 goals already. The team looks very solid. And not only are they 2-0, but they beat the Flyers and the Rangers, who are both now 0-2. So you've got a good jump. It's only a 48-game season. 4-point lead doesn't sound that big right now, but they still look at and they're looking pretty huge right now. Their next game is on Wednesday, I believe, against Winnipeg, and I'll predict that they'll take another 2 points in that one too.
It's definitely a sprint. As long as they keep the sprint, get ahead of these guys. 2's like 4 right now, like Mike's talking about. You get that 2, the other team fell back 2. So to overcome that is a lot harder now because you only have 48 games. So the math will be on their side. For all you college students and all that, you know the math. Right, Megan?
Oh, yeah. Now, you were saying about Malkin being in such mid-season form already. I think that is so great, especially for the team. I think just him taking that initiative to play the whole time in Russia, that's huge for the Penguins. That's just huge. I just can't wait to see what he's going to do with the rest of the season.
Well, plus he did make a few $1 million doing it.
That's
Just
right.
He's sorry, Megan.
He's pretty dedicated guest, but I think the initiative
You're
had
a
a lot of
guest of the
zeros attached to
show,
it.
but we're in society in general, we're money generated here. That
Oh,
we
yeah,
get that.
definitely.
But I mean, what you're talking about too is other guys did make a choice not to. Just like
Exactly.
Neal. Neal decided to train with Gary Roberts, and we all know Gary Roberts' work ethic. And look at the shape Neal was in. So, you know, it goes
Exactly.
in that same vein there.
Money's obviously always going to be a big factor. Yeah, I didn't think that through, I guess.
You know, we just held our breath a little bit, and I didn't mean but we had to bring that up.
No,
because-
I understand.
Well, Jim, I know you don't even like hockey.
I love hockey.
Who's your favorite player
Your
in hockey?
favorite players jumped up to a big
Yeah.
start.
What about your favorite man?
You know what? I love hockey, contrary to popular demand, but the greatest hockey player I've ever seen was Yager. And broke my heart when he left the Penguins the first time, and then they didn't re-sign him last year, but he's doing a great job for Dallas, and I hope he continues. I tell you what, he's a freak of nature. We're 40 years old and still able to dominate the league.
Yeah, he had a great opening game for Dallas, 2 goals, 2 assists, and it being a short season, only 48 games, that may help Yager out a lot. Being an older guy, maybe the end of the season last year, he might have wore down a little bit, probably didn't help Philadelphia out a lot in the playoffs, but he helped them to get there. And with a 48-game season, he might be a big force for Dallas this year.
And I always like guys that are players on the field and off the field.
Hold it, wait
He's
a
certainly a
second.
player off the field for sure.
Wait a second. He's a Kit Kat man. I remember when he first come up, that was one of his dietary meals. Have a Kit Kat. And he used to drive up here, going to his home in Upper St. Clair at about 105 miles an hour.
Really?
Oh, he accumulated tickets like you couldn't believe.
I thought all the Penguins lived on a hill.
Well, Upper St. Clair's on a little hill on 19. Good one, son.
Which show would that be, Jim?
Where Al grew up.
The Hill District. Come on now, that's not fair to talk about how I was born in the Hill way back in the day. My family homestead's underneath Mercy Hospital's emergency room. They ended up taking the family home way back when.
When you were born, that might be worth 2 ways, like way back in the day.
That's when the dinosaurs basically slithered out of the mud and the lake a couple years ago.
Rose, what do you think about the Penguins this year?
I'm really excited to see what the rest of the season has for them. Just coming off winning the first 2 games, especially against the Flyers, it's been huge for them. I'm really excited about them acquiring Thomas Vokoun. I think if we have when Marc-Andre Fleury needs a rest, we know we have a good backup goalie who we can go to. And I don't know if I agree with the decision to put him in the second game into the season, but it gave us a chance to see how he's going to play and what he's going to do. And I'm really excited to see what the season
Who's the
has.
backup goalie?
Thomas Vokoun.
Picked him
He's
up
a little
from
hard of hearing
Washington.
at times.
And,
you have to understand. We'll explain later.
The Washington Capitals, they might have thought it was a good move at the time they got rid of him, but I bet after their first game, when Tampa Bay put up 6 goals on them, they might be rethinking that about now. But you're right, beating the Flyers is big. Personally, if they sweep the Flyers and don't get the playoffs, it's still a great season for me. I'd rather see them sweep the Flyers than lift the cup, to be honest. In fact, I'm not going to say that I hate Philadelphia, but if you gave me a nuke and told me I could drop it on Tehran or Philadelphia, it'd take me 3 days to decide.
Well, I have to second that emotion. My sister, I helped her move. She was the biggest fan of the show here, my younger sister. Well, now she's the biggest fan in New Jersey, and she can't watch the Penguins unless it's on national TV. And the Philly Flyer fans and everything else are, I don't know, they might have more hate than we do for them. That's how bad it is. So I just talked to her before the show, and she's going to try to get where she can watch the games, or at least put 105.9 on and listen to the radio. So you ladies might have to call my sister up to tell her how to program her phone, because her husband can do it, but he's out away on a job, and she can't get that hooked up. So she needs 105.9.
Oh, yeah.
No problem. See, it's nice to have tech-savvy producers from Waynesburg.
Well, one of the things, to be honest, I don't like a 48-game season, only because I like to watch hockey, so I want to see a full season next year. But what I do like is the fact that this year, most of their games are going to be played within the division, and there'll be a few conference games, but they won't play the other conference this year at all until they get to the Stanley Cup Finals. I kind of like that. I like to see a lot of games against the Flyers, a lot of games against the Rangers. The Islanders are kind of an afterthought, but it's fun to beat them up, I guess, now and then. But I really like the idea of playing within the division a lot. The games are more important that way. Like Al said before, when you beat them, you get 2 points, they get nothing. That's a big jump on them. I'm not a homer for the Pirates or the Steelers, as you've probably seen. But when it comes to the Penguins, I probably am. I like to watch this team a lot. I think they're the most exciting ticket in town. They're a very exciting team to watch, and just love everything about them. I'm really looking forward to them. And I know that most Pittsburgh people are Steeler fans. A lot of them don't pay much attention to the Penguins. But the Pittsburgh Penguins are the most fan-friendly team in the city, maybe the most fan-friendly team in the world. Not this year because of the lockout, but when you order season tickets, the Penguin players come to your house with them. They give you your tickets personally. When you're standing in line waiting to get in, the Penguin players come out with pizza and drinks, and not the healthy scratch players, but Malkin and Crosby and Fleury. They come out there. And this year, when the lockout was over, they had a scrimmage. Was it last Thursday night or whatever it was? A scrimmage where half the team played against the other half of the team at the Consol Energy Center, and it was free for the fans. Can you imagine the Roonies letting people come in to watch a preseason game for free?
Let me answer that.
They would rather eat their children.
No, they would not do that.
That's
There's
right.
no doubt.
Yet the people around here don't seem to appreciate the Penguins as much as they are rabidly moronic about the Steelers.
And speaking of rabidly moronic, I drink the Steeler Kool-Aid, but I also drink the Penguin Kool-Aid. And the Pirate Kool-Aid, I'm out of Kool-Aid. I don't like the ownership there. And I'm a fan of the Passion, Pittsburgh Passion women's football team. So I do drink a lot of Kool-Aid.
Well, it's okay if you don't have the Pirate Kool-Aid, because when you try to get into the game, they won't let you bring it in. They won't even let you bring bottled water in.
Oh, they let you bring bottles of water now. They finally did, so you don't have to pay $8 for that bottle of water. I brought one in. I was looking for that all-you-can-eat little $50 seat that you guys take.
And the Steeler Kool-Aid, well, that comes out of what, a 12-ounce can in the parking lot? I'm not saying that the Penguins fan is a better caliber of person, but I believe it's okay to not be totally drunk before the game when you go to see the Penguins, and you can still enjoy it.
Yeah, I agree that the Pens fans are usually the Pens are more fan-friendly. They, like you said, when you're in line with the student rush, they come bring you pizza and they do all that stuff for you. I could never see some of the Pittsburgh Steelers coming and doing that if you're waiting, doing anything, waiting for that. Even when you go to training camp up at St. Vincent College for the Steelers, some of the big people, Troy Polamalu, when Hines Ward was there, they wouldn't even walk past you when they're signing autographs.
They don't even acknowledge you.
They would just take the other route, and then they would have all the rookies come up, and they would be the only ones who would be signing autographs. And you don't see that. You see the Pens players, they're big with the fans.
And the Penguins even used to hold some seats for if you had your student ID, you had seats, because I know, my son took advantage of that and his buddies quite a few times. So that's enjoyable. Plus the other thing, do you think the Roonies would have a Mario's TV out in the lot so people would just sit around and hang around? No, they couldn't, because they'd be killing each other. Because I don't mind people having a drink now and again, because we are in a bar, $2.95 bottles of domestic beer at level 20. Make sure you come. Oh, Colin, I didn't see you walking in from outside. Don't forget trivia night. But my thing with the drinking, you can't even bring young children, girlfriends, wives and girlfriends, whoever, because of some of the verbal abuse that you take just because they're yelling at some player that they don't even know what team he's on because they can't see down that far. I mean, it gets terrible. And I've been there, and I'd rather watch the game on a flat screen TV at home than go there and hear all that stuff.
You guys are a little hard on the Steelers. I tell you what, the Steeler wives, the Steeler wives and the Steeler girlfriends, they can really take a good punch.
Ouch! Let me do a little disclaimer here. Smoking Jim is known to be against domestic violence. This is just some of his sarcasm and a little bit of his humor. He does not mean that. If he does, we have to find out.
Chris Rainey's girlfriend's next match is with Layla Ali.
She said it didn't happen, if you want to get into particulars. She dropped the charges, said his left hook was weak, but who cares about that? I mean, I don't mean to make fun of domestic violence, but if you are involved in that, don't take the charges off of the person, okay? It just makes everybody look bad.
I think that was a little bit overblown. You can't really blame Chris Rainey. He was just following Floyd Mayweather's training regimen.
Right, is he still in jail? Is Floyd still in jail looking for that next winner?
He got out of jail because he wasn't.
Oh, his food.
He thought the jail wasn't healthy for him.
Yeah, well, the solitary confinement didn't work out too well because he was punching the walls. Oh, well, that's a little weak entertainment there.
Rose, you don't have to say I'm right. Everybody knows it.
Hey, you.
Last time I was wrong was I told Noah this storm is going to blow over. All right, so girls, while we're getting through the sports and stuff, what's in your future? You're going to school for sports broadcasting.
Yes, I'm actually a double major. I'm sports broadcasting and public relations. So my time is really packed, but I love it a lot. And honestly, I don't know exactly what I would like to do. My dream is to be on ESPN.
Well, there you go. That's what you want to do. We just narrowed that down for you. All right? Keep your eye on the ball.
Thanks.
Rose, how about you?
Dream big.
Well, right now I'm a sports broadcasting major. Next year I plan on doing a dual major, sports broadcasting and electronic media, just because I like the producing and directing aspect of it. I really don't have a lot of time now either because I work on JSW, and Megan and I are both working on a new show this semester. Plus I do track and field at Waynesburg, so my time is very, very limited. But I don't know what the future holds for me yet. Like Megan, I would love to do ESPN, something like that, but then also living in Pittsburgh, all the opportunities there, even Root Sports, WPXI, KDKA, working for the Steelers or the Pens or even the Pirates.
I think you just nailed what you want to do.
Something in
you want to
Pittsburgh.
do something in Pittsburgh with sports.
I would love to stay in Pittsburgh.
Hey,
Definitely.
Rose, when you were in high school at Shaler High School, did you get a chance to interview head football coach Neil Gordon?
I didn't. At my last 2 years of high school, I actually attended cyber school just because I wasn't having the greatest experience at Shaler, but I didn't get a chance to interview him. I would have loved to because he was a great coach.
Well, all he would have said was when he was at Penn Hills, he used to get beat by Gateway. But the one thing...
And that's where Smoking Jim went.
I probably seen you run track in high school. Every year I go to the Shaler Invitational at the beginning of the season. Biggest track.
What's your events?
At the beginning of the season.
I throw. I do shot put and discus, and I would do javelin.
I never would have guessed.
Yeah, everyone
I
said that. They're
know,
like,
for
you don't look
real.
like a thrower.
You
But
must have great form, as Chuck Villa would say, one of my coaches with
yeah, it's
South
just
Park.
it's all technique and strength, and you don't.
That's what he said.
Yeah, sometimes I throw against the girls who are.
Well, yeah, she's got a great form. Didn't you see her walk over here?
Hey. This might be going out over YouTube and everything else shortly, like in a couple days. But dream big, ladies. That's what I always say.
Definitely.
If you shoot for the top there at ESPN and you end up in Pittsburgh with Root Sports, how bad would that be?
Well, you guys
Not bad at all.
Well, you guys mentioned a lot of stations. I didn't hear you mention BET.
Is that the bet station with Smoking Jim Frazier for the Super Bowl? I'm confused.
It's a boring entertainment station, isn't it?
I don't know. I'm still looking at it. I thought I had that Jet book. I was looking at Jet the other day. What's up with that, Smoking?
When you girls become producers, either at ESPN or Root Sports or on the Fan or wherever, and you want to upgrade the shows, make sure you give us a
You
call.
and mine.
You guys, definitely.
See you in 4 years at big time.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I hope so.
I hope so.
Well, you heard it, folks. They got their start right here, right in Bethel Park, the Pittsburgh Sports Line here.
All right. Well, I guess we're going to not do our Super Bowl predictions till next week. But Tell us a little bit about the game, Jim. What are the highlights? Who do you have to look at? I think Randy Moss, myself, is a difference maker. I know you like Ray Lewis, but who else? Who else you want to take a peek at?
Well, and if you look at San Francisco, I tell you what, defense wins championships. I said all along. I said before the game 2 weeks ago, I said that the Green Bay Packers was afraid of the San Francisco 49ers, and discount double choke proved that. But I tell you what, Patrick Willis, number 52, he grew up idolizing Ray Lewis. He wears 52, Ray Lewis's number. So look for the defensive guys to intimidate. And I tell you what, offensively, that pistol offense got the whole National Football League really taking a step back. I think it's catching teams off guard. I tell you what, Kaepernick is unbelievable, a freak of nature, 6'5", 240 pounds, can run a 4.40, got a great arm. I think he's the second or third best quarterback, somewhere behind Terrell Pryor for a guy that size. But I tell you what, the difference is coming down to the best defensive coordinator in all of football is not Dick LeBeau, it's Sugar Ray Lewis. Ray Lewis watches more film than anybody, and I think Ray Lewis is going to come up with something to stop the pistol in 2 weeks. I don't know if it'll be good enough to win the football game, but it's going to be outstanding.
I think I figured out who Smoking Jim's going to bet on, and I'm not going to tell you. Defense will win it, but it's not his man.
But don't forget now, the University of Pittsburgh recruited a young man by the name of Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco came here. Unfortunately, Joe Montana wouldn't have beat out Tyler Pelko. Tyler Pelko was a parade All-American quarterback coming out of West Allegheny. Flacco did a great thing. He transferred to Delaware, put up big numbers, ended up getting drafted in the National Football League, and I tell you what, he's on his way to getting a $100 million contract next year. They got some great weapons, and I tell you what, Ray Rice may be the difference in the game. And don't forget, Bernard Pierce, 220-pound running back from Temple. And Temple, I tell you what, they know how to recruit coaches. They just got Gateway coach Terry Smith to come and be their receivers coach. So right now, I'm a Temple fan.
Oh, what a waste of talent that is. Terry Smith could have been a Division I head coach. He's a great football coach. He even led a garbage school like Gateway most of the way every year. But guy, outstanding football coach, proven recruiter. He recruited a lot of good players for Gateway. He definitely should have held out for a head coaching job. I mean, even though I joke a lot about Gateway, seriously believe Terry Smith is an outstanding head coach, and that he could easily be a great head coach in college. Should not have taken a job at Temple like that. He sort of undersold himself, I think.
I agree.
Give him a year or two, and maybe we'll get another black head coach. Okay. No, in college too. I'm looking at it because somebody was talking about some of that stuff, and the Rooney Rule seems like it's failing. And in college football, if you're a black head coach, you're one and done, except for Ty Willingham.
Yeah, two and done.
Yeah. Well, he did too, though, but everybody else is one and no more. You don't even hear of them. But that's another story.
I thought Penn had a real good black head coach.
I don't know too much about black head coaches in college, but my very good friend Smoking Jim Frazier told me that the Cincinnati Bengals have the greatest affirmative action program in the world. that Marvin Lewis couldn't get fired no matter what he does.
Eighth wonder of the world is how that guy.
Well, from Fort Cherry, and he has a photo album that is unbelievable. That's what keeps his job, folks.
He must have Cincinnati's owners with farm animals, because there's no way in the world that this man should be keeping his job.
Well, they do have farm animals. They have a whole, like, alpacas and emus and all kind of other things running around out there.
They did make the playoffs this year.
Yes, they did.
Can't say that, on the north side.
Oh, man.
But you'll be able to say it on the Hill District.
That's right. Let's go Pens.
Let's go Pens.
See you at Console Wednesday night.
So, girls, I know, like, again, I got to tell you this because I tell everybody this. Jim doesn't really believe that Ray Lewis is the best NFL player ever. He just says that to try to stir up some controversy and stuff. But who do you think's the greatest NFL player ever?
Or do you have an opinion on it?
Sorry to stump you.
I definitely don't think Ray Lewis is the greatest NFL player.
Okay, we'll take a
can't get
negative
over the
vote
murder
that
fact.
way.
He's a good.
Can't get over it.
I won't deny he's a really good linebacker, but sometimes I think he's overrated, and I can't get over the fact that he is a murderer. I can't. I don't think.
That's it. I mean,
You know what? We
I think you're a
appreciate
little
honesty.
prejudicial there.
I am.
The
I
guy's a
totally agree.
linebacker in the NFL. He's supposed to be able to intimidate people. Right? And he
That's
can stand there and tell the guy across the line, so you won't be the first guy stabbed to death. Well, you know, that's a little bit intimidating. So, you know, it kind of plays into it a little.
I definitely think I don't really have an opinion on the greatest player in the NFL, but I think that Heath Miller
Oh, yeah.
is so good.
Yeah,
He doesn't
he
get enough recognition either.
Very underrated.
He's probably one of the best tight ends in the NFL, and I just don't think anybody really gives him the recognition, especially the Steelers, like the actual program. They don't give him enough recognition for all the work that he puts in.
Well, unfortunately, right now, Heath Miller got a knee like the Chief. But who do you think is the better dancer, Ray Lewis or Hines Ward?
Hines Ward. Hands down.
See, he actually believes he's the best dancer there. And he goes by the partners, just so you know.
You gotta go.
Smoke and Jim goes by their partners.
First, Hines is a little bit more effeminate than Ray Lewis is for sure.
These aren't
Much
Hines
better
Ward's
dancer.
fans.
Yeah. So, and yeah, I mean, you learn a lot of different moves as you travel from back and forth between here and like Korea and stuff. Ray Lewis probably hasn't been any further south than Miami or any further north than England.
Well, I'll get to New Orleans now, so even though us Steeler fans don't want to hear it, he'll be there. So what can we do? I don't know who to pick now, Smoking Jim. You got me all twisted up because now I think you're leaning toward. Never mind.
Was it going to come down to, will Ray Lewis end his career like Hines Ward? Will he go out and like John Elway, would a legend go out with a Super Bowl ring? Or will John Harbaugh, one of the most competitive guys I've ever met, John Harbaugh, will he, being that he's the best coach in the National Football League, will San Francisco win it all?
Or will Randy Moss
I forgot
go
about
out with
Randy.
getting a ring
forgot.
and be like Jerome Bettis, because the first time they thought Jerome was retiring, they didn't get him the ring, so they had to come back. And then they got him the ring. So I don't think Ray Lewis is going to do it. I'll just tell you that much.
Well, I wouldn't mind seeing Ray on the sidelines crying.
Again,
Not at all.
I think
for 2 weeks, we're going to see it,
that'd be
folks.
very heartwarming to me. But as far as Randy Moss, I think win or lose, I don't think he has any intention of
No,
retiring.
I don't either.
No,
I mean, he likes to
no.
play, and he's getting a lot of money. And
He can still catch a ball,
And he plays whenever he wants to.
which when you get older is nice because that's what they do anyhow, right? Keeps you in your career. He's taking the time off because he has to now. He's even giving advice to young quarterbacks. I saw him talking to Kaepernick. I'm like, what's he telling him? I squirted a water bottle in a referee's eye.
wait. Have you how long have you followed Randy Moss's career?
A couple days.
Because if you've watched him all his whole career, I tell you exactly what he was telling Kaepernick. I didn't get enough balls. I could beat this guy. I could beat that guy. You better start throwing the ball to me.
What good receiver doesn't say that? If you don't ask for the ball, and we have some receivers here, just like running backs, that one play and they're done. 2 plays and they're done.
Tapping
Get me out, coach.
No. Randy
So-
Moss doesn't ask for the ball. He tells you, I'm here, I'm going to be there, throw me the ball. But you know what? I believe that he will be the difference maker. Frank Gore's a great running back. Ray Rice a great running back. two great quarterbacks, two great defenses, but I don't think they have anything for Randy Moss. I think the guy, even as old as he is, he's a great talent. He can go down the field, but he has the experience, as you saw in this last game, to turn around and come back when he needs to. I think that he's going to be the difference in this game. I think San Francisco, I think it'll be a good football game to watch. I think San Francisco will win it.
Yeah, I'd hate to make my prediction
But
now.
will they win by 4.5? I'm a professional gambler. Magic, that's all I care about, bro.
5.
Decent point.
5.
35,
Tell me if I should bet a
35,
house.
28.
Okay.
I can afford one more house to lose. I'm up by 1 on your bets this year. You're not undefeated, even though you started undefeated. Now you come back strong.
But again,
I'm up 1 house.
I'm saying that now because I haven't heard Jim's prediction next week. Because like I said, if he predicts sunrise tomorrow, you better buy some flashlights. It's going to be a dark, dark day. Well, girls, like to thank you for coming on. Al, Jim, any last words?
I got to give another promotion. The fabulous Biscegula Brothers. It's Friday, the 25th. Make sure you're there. Tickets are $5, 9 to 1. Don't forget about trivia nights Thursday night. You could win 4 Penguin hockey tickets, so you guys know what that's like. Get those tickets. $2.95, domestic drafts and bottled beer every Penguins game.